I was an elementary counselor in Ponca City, and my husband went to work in Midwest City for the at the air base. So we moved down there, and we were in an apartment, and I was bored, so I went to a child abuse conference because I was a licensed counselor. And the people behind me in one of the lulls were talking about their programs. And I was fascinated because when you work with children in a school, you can get the children a lot of help, and the children can progress to the point where they can do fine in school, but they still go home to the same family every night. And it's almost like you've divided the children. School is this and family is this. And I heard these people, which was Libba Smith, who started CCFI, and Denelyn Van Gundy, who was the first director of the was the first director of Teenage Parents program, talking about their programs. And so I wheeled around and said, "Do you all ever use volunteers?" And Libba was, "Oh, yes, we do." And Denelyn was like, "Oh my gosh, what are we agreeing to?" So I started working as a volunteer with some of Denelyn's teenage parents. And after, 4 or 5 months, they presented an opportunity for me to work with Fran Rice in the Parents Assistance Program. Asked if I would do the children's program, so I was hired to do the children's part of the Parents Assistance Program, which I thought was wonderful because you worked with both the parents and the children in families that were dysfunctional or struggling. And I loved it. I got to work with kids from infancy up to 16, I think. And the facilities at First Baptist were wonderful. Their Sunday school rooms. And we learned a lot about the families. Sorry. From watching the children's play. That was more informative than what adults had to say. I had discovered in working in schools that you bring children into an area, and as adults, we ask questions always. And you bring them in and you say, "What's happening?" And they say, "I don't know." You get the shoulder shrug. So I started bringing my kids' toys to school, and here we had a room with toys and a wonderful place for a child to play and express what was happening. And believe you me, they express some things that you're like, "Oh my gosh," I had one little girl who came in one day and said, "We're going to play monster." And I said, "Okay." And she said, "I'm going to be the kid and get under the table, and you're going to be the monster." And I said, "Okay, I can probably be a monster." And so she had me walking around the table, and I was making what I thought were appropriate monster noises. And she said, "Stomp your feet." And I said, "Oh, okay." She directed this whole play. And I did that for a while. And finally she said, "You be the kid and I'll be the monster." And I said, "Okay," which was interesting because she got to be in the power role. And so I got in under this child's table, and of course my feet stuck out. She said, "Well, pull your feet in." And so I pulled them in and raised the table. So I said, "I can't, they have to stick out." She said, "Oh, never mind. I'll be the kid and you be the monster." It's like, okay, I think that when you volunteer, you get as much as you give. It's an opportunity to be with another human being, whether it's adult or child, and in a helpful way and in a pleasant way. You're not there to enforce anything, but I think both people benefit from that situation, both the person you're working with and the volunteer. You don't, I don't want to be in a world where people don't help each other. And there are lots of places to volunteer, so you can do things that are satisfying to you and are helpful to clients. So I've volunteered my whole life. In fact, I volunteer here. I work with children at St. Jude's who are there for chemotherapy because that's what I need to do. It was seeing families change and getting families the help that they needed. It was seeing some staff members change. Some staff members thought that was a bunch of hooey, just letting a kid play for an hour, you know. So we all learned a lot. I think it's just seeing the change. The stories you hear, I took home with me for quite a few nights and finally started writing them down, and I could leave them that way. There is a facility in the community where you can take families that are troubled, and a lot of these were DHS families, and you can offer help rather than condemning them. You know, you can say, come here and we will help you. And I think that's the difference.